Boy, everybody seems to be responding to this development on the part of the president to pull out of that Iran deal. The DNC responding, saying that Donald Trump's reckless decision today makes the world less safe by withdrawing from the JCPOA. The president is threatening our national security, undermining American credibility, isolating us from our partners and allies, and abandoning our commitments under this agreement. Now, we did reach out, by the way, to Mr. Perez to see if he could join us on this show. I don't believe we heard back, but we did hear back from this woman, the RNC chairwoman, Ronna McDaniel, who joins me right now. Ronna, very good to have you.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me, Neil.
What do you think of that reaction? Almost universal condemnation from the other side, from Democrats, oddly enough, including Chuck Schumer, who was originally against this deal, one of 4 Democrats who voted against Barack Obama's deal on this. What do you make of that?
Well, Chuck Schumer is playing his partisan role, and the reality is that the Obama administration entered into a reckless deal with Iran, one that made the world less safe. They didn't put the proper inspections in place so that we could go in and make sure that Iran was ceasing their nuclear programs. These are things that we have to put in place to safeguard our country. Iran has continued to fund terrorism. They have not been good actors. And I think the president delivered on a campaign promise today and said, we are going to go back and we are going to make sure that we are putting in a deal. If we go back to the table with Iran, that makes this world safer. And that's exactly what Barack Obama should have done. And President Trump, once again, is taking a leadership role in the world and correcting the mistakes of the Obama administration.
Now, if the 90-day waiting period up to 180 days doesn't produce any results, I mean, obviously a lot of business deals that have been made with Iran would be broken, and we couldn't honor them. That includes Boeing, which has a number of multi-billion-dollar contracts with the Iranians. What are we telling Boeing? What are we telling these American companies?
Well, that'll be up to the administration to communicate with people engaged in those deals. But what the president told the American people today is the United States of America is a leader in the world again. And he's done it with Syria. He's doing it now with Iran. He's done it with North Korea. And he has said we are not going to stand for bad actors, and we are not going to make deals that are not making our world safer. And he has made great progress in all of those fronts. And he delivered on a campaign promise today. And I think we will come out with a safer country, safer world because of today.
You know, we have all these primaries going on tonight, you know, in 4 different states, 8 more next week, you know, dozens more over the next few weeks. Do you think this is an issue that will affect voters, or is it just really the economy?
I think people are paying attention to what the president's done with countries like North Korea and with Syria taking that definitive action when they use chemical weapons. But I do think the economy is the overriding issue. People in states like Indiana and Ohio and West Virginia and North Carolina who are voting today, they know that jobs are coming back to their states. They know that wages are up. They know that people are getting better paychecks. They're feeling good about where our country is going. And I think that's what you're going to see, not just through this primary season, but through November as they go to the ballot box and they say, which is the party that delivered? And especially in Indiana and West Virginia and Ohio, they have 3 Democrat senators who all voted against the middle-class tax cuts. And they're going to have to answer to their voters for that.
You know, Don Blagojevich, the former coal industry executive who was in prison for a year, you know, for violating safety standards that led to that awful, you know, coal industry accident back in, you know, some years ago. If he wins, would you recognize him? Would the president recognize him as the Republican nominee for senator?
So I don't want to get ahead of any election that's taking place today because people are out voting. But I will say we're going to support Republican nominees that are going to further the president's agenda. We know Joe Manchin's not going to do that because he voted against the tax cuts. And we know that if the Democrats took the majority in the Senate, he would vote for Chuck Schumer to be the leader. So we're going to be supporting those Republican nominees. Let's make sure the voters have a chance to make that decision without me weighing in today before the vote's done.
Understood. If the voters understand that Blankenship is the guy, you would still prefer him to Joe Manchin?
Yeah, I'm going to support people who are going to support the president's agenda. Joe Manchin talks a good game, but when it comes down to those important votes, he voted no for higher wages, for more jobs, for a better economy. He's voted no against his state time and time again. I say he's a nice guy. Have him over for a barbecue, but don't send him back to the Senate. We need people who are going to work with this president in the Senate. I love these May primaries because it allows us to find who our nominee is going to be and coalesce around them. The most important message coming out of today in all these states, after these candidates have had these competitive primaries, come together. We're going to need all hands on deck so we can beat these Democrat incumbents and give the president more help in the Senate.
Ronna, you probably hear the back and forth as John McCain has been planning his own funeral, apparently, suffering from brain cancer, and you know the story. But he has apparently made known that he doesn't want the president at his funeral. The vice president, yes, but not President Trump. What do you think of that?
You know, I have a hard time weighing in on something that I'm not privy to firsthand. I think right now the whole country needs to have John McCain and his family in our thoughts and prayers. He's an American hero. He's suffering through, obviously, a very serious brain tumor and cancer. We want him to heal. I don't want to be thinking about his funeral. I want to be thinking about his recovery.
Would the same apply to his regrets, apparently, in his book about picking Sarah Palin, although he has great respect and admiration for her still, that maybe he should have picked Joe Lieberman as his running mate?
Yeah, I'm interested to see his book. He's obviously had a historic career in the Senate and before that, serving our country. And I'd be interested to see his insights and what he wishes he did differently. I wish he'd have voted against Obamacare, of course, but it's going to be interesting to see how his book comes out. And overwhelmingly, this country is thinking about him and hoping that he recovers, and he's in our thoughts and prayers.
Nicely put. Ronna McDaniel, thank you very much. Good seeing you, the RNC chairwoman. See how these races go tonight, Ronna. Thank you again.